Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to our Coffee Times to talk all things horror. So today I wanted to do a book tag because I haven't done one in a while. I'm here today to do the mid-year book tag.
It's coffee time.
I know it's a little bit late. I should have done this one in June, but I didn't have the time for it. So hopefully you guys are still interested to hear my thoughts on how far has 2024 been for me when it comes to my reading. So get your cup of coffee and let's start. Also, before I forget, I'm gonna leave down below in the description box the link to the creators of the tag as well as the questions, because you might still want to do it yourselves as well. The first question is, how is your reading going? Well, thanks for asking. So the year actually started so well. I was so on track with all my reading, with all of my plans for themed reading vlogs, and I guess as it usually happens, at some point it starts to get bad and worse. Not like that, but I did get like some extra jobs in the past couple of months, and I had decided to take them, which have taken away a lot of my time for YouTube and for reading, but it is what it is. I also need the jobs because I need to pay for my cats. But honestly, I'm still doing quite well because I'm still on track with my Goodreads. I always set up a goal of 100 books per year. That's like my standard. So currently I have 66 read books. That includes also novellas, so there is a lot of short things in there, but that puts me 14 books ahead, which gives me a lot of peace of mind. And even though I'm hoping to have more time to read soon, I think my extra job will end around September, so hopefully for, Halloween season and winter, I will have a lot more time for reading again. But all in all, I'm very happy because I'm still reading every month, even though I have extra job, I have the bathroom renovations, life has been busy, I have a lot more appointments for things, but all in all, I'm still reading around 6 books a month, which I still consider it a win in my book. Best book you've read so far in 2024. So this one was a little bit hard for me to answer because I always think that there is always more than one book that you have absolutely loved. And I think for me, one of my favorites was definitely A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. But if there is a book that absolutely had me on a chokehold and I was addicted and it just made my life so much better while I was reading it, is An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. If you saw my vlog while I was reading this, you probably would realize that I was obsessed, addicted, I was living for this. I could only breathe this book while I was reading it. And that gets to tell you how much I loved it. This is an adaptation of Carmilla, which is one of the oldest vampire tales, which I also recommend you guys to read if you haven't yet. Recently, I think in the last couple of years, there was a re-release in hardcover, really pretty, that I bought myself. So, treat yourself to that book because I think it's a great classic. So in this book, we follow two girls that come from very different backgrounds, but they both end up in the same boarding school. And at the beginning, it seems like they might not really be best friends, but destiny, has other plans and they end up becoming friends and perhaps even something more. And it is a great dark academia book, and I don't always vibe with dark academia. It has to hit the right spot for me, and I felt like this one did. And vampirism is in the book, but vampirism is also not like the main thing of the book, even though there's a lot of explanation about it as well. But this was such a beautiful love story. I loved the characters. I was so invested. It got really steamy, which caught me off guard. I was not anticipating that. And I just adored it. The writing style was beautiful, and this is a book that I will definitely reread, annotate. So it has been definitely one of my favorites so far of 2024, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna see this book in my January video about my favorites of 2024. Best sequel you've read so far in 2024. So, normally I don't read many series. I feel like horror books normally don't tend to be series. Some thrillers are, and this book I did read a whole series, which is the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, so I guess my best sequel would be Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, and I did genuinely enjoy the sequel. In the first book, we have Pip trying to solve a murder. She feels like the person that was accused and convicted for the crime might have been innocent, but she's not sure, and she's trying to figure out if that person actually committed the murder or not. In the second book, she's trying to find a missing person. And sequels are not easy to make, especially if you have such a big success like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but I felt like I was so invested and so in love with Pip in the second book as much as I was in the first one, so I thought it was a very worthy sequel. This one also included mixed media like the first one, and we have a lot of podcast episodes and stuff, and that made it a lot more engaging as Pip is trying to find out what happened to Jamie, if he's still alive, who took him, or why he disappeared. I think the investigation was really well done, and Holly Jackson really knows how to build up tension, how to give you twists and turns in the story, so it was a very, very solid sequel. Sadly, as we all know, I was not as huge as a fan of the third book in the trilogy, but when it comes to sequel, I think this one was quite strong. Favorite reread. So in 2024 so far, I have not reread any books yet, but I'm thinking maybe this winter I would like to revisit I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I was considering getting an extra copy just so that I could annotate that one and write in it and stuff, because it's one of my comfort reads and it's not too long, so I could potentially reread this one this year. Maybe if you guys haven't read it, we could all read it like the same month, and you know, you could give me your thoughts on the book because it's a very polarizing book. And I also want to reread as soon as I can Mina and the Undead and Mina and the Slayers, because I feel like I would like to read the whole trilogy now that it's completed in one go. That's part of the reasons why I still haven't read Mina and the Cult, is because I feel like so many things happen and there are so many characters involved that I would love to do like a whole read of the whole trilogy in one go, which is something that we could also do together if you guys are up for it, like this year or early next year, because I feel like that would give me the best experience to get to Mina and the Cult, which I have been dying to read. Genre you've been loving / reading the most? Horror. I think it's obvious. Horrors and thrillers. I think this year I have been reading a lot more mystery thrillers because I have been reading a lot more of YA books. And a lot of the YA books that I have been reading have been mystery thrillers more than horror, which is not a bad thing because I have been really enjoying them. So I would say, you know, those are the two things that I have been reading the most this year. And I do think I've been reading more YA perhaps even than last year. New releases you haven't read yet but you want to? Well, a lot, as always. I have tried to keep on track as much as possible this year of the new releases. I still need to read You Like It Darker by Stephen King, which I had on my June TBR pile, but sadly I didn't get to it. And also I'm waiting for some Amazon pre-orders for books that were released in June. And Amazon is telling me now that they're not gonna get to me until January 2025. Like, bruh. One of the books is Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, but I have found it on another website, so I have cancelled my Amazon pre-order and ordered it from the other website, and it's supposed to come tomorrow, so I'm really excited. Then Incidents Around a House by Josh Malerman. And this one I'm also trying to find it somewhere else so that I can get it this month, but so far I have not been successful. I did find it at a bookstore in Amsterdam, but the price was like almost 40 euros, and I'm like, absolutely not, like absolutely not. That is despicable, that is way too much. But my boyfriend says that Amsterdam inflates the prices a lot more anyway than other places because it's just an expensive place to live, and I'm like, well, good riddance, I'm not gonna buy this book here. I would if they would have regular prices. So that was also very sad because I had the book in my hands, but I was like, I can't be raped like this. Then also Rotten Tommy by David Sodergren is a book that I have been dying to read. I'm trying to collect the last David Sodergren books that I have not read yet, and maybe I will do a vlog reading the last ones from him that I haven't read, and then I would do like a video ranking his books, because he's one of my favorite authors and I feel like he's starting now to be more recognized. Like I feel like more booktubers are starting to pick up his books. I was there from day one. I was there from day one supporting my boy. And I want everybody to read David Sodergren, okay, because he is amazing. Most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. So funny enough, one of my most anticipated releases is So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison, which is an author that I had never read before up until this year. And now I'm really excited about this new release because I believe it's about vampires and I want to see her take on vampires. Also Influencer by Adam Caesar, I'm really interested about. I think that one comes out in September, but in August he also has A Clown in a Cornfield 3, which is also going to be really fun because those are fan slashers. But there's many books still to come out this year that I'm really excited about. Biggest disappointment. This is hard. I guess Four Found Dead by Natalie D. Richards was one of the ones that was a huge disappointment for me, just because I went into the book expecting something and it was something completely different. When I have books that disappoint me, and I had a couple disappoint me this year, like Now Conjurers that I just read in June was also a disappointment for me. Mostly it's because I'm expecting something else and the book doesn't live up to those expectations. And also most of the time is because maybe the writing style or the type of narrator or other things don't work for me, which doesn't mean it's not gonna work for anybody else. So take my thoughts with a grain of salt, because we all are very different type of readers, and I never want to discourage people to pick up an author or a book just because I didn't enjoy it. This was supposed to be a YA locked room murder mystery in a mall, and I was so excited about it. And it kind of started like that, but this book was not exactly horror and not exactly a locked room murder mystery really, and it was so predictable from the very beginning. You could see who was the killer kinda, and it removed the whole tension. It removed the whole thing from the book. And it was very frustrating. I don't even know how I was able to finish this book. I was kind of like going through it as quickly as I could because I just wanted it to be over. Biggest surprise. And for this I picked a book that honestly, I was shocked that I enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm talking about Diabola by Jennifer Thorne. When I picked up this book, I thought, I just want to know, you know, what the hype is about. And a lot of people loved it or hated it. It's, I think, a book that also kind of divided readers, and I wanted to know. And this was a book that, when I went into it, I already kind of anticipated this book to not be too creepy. And the ending is something that definitely I did not expect. I did not see coming. We follow Anna. So Anna is kind of like the black sheep of the family. She doesn't have the best relationship with her family, but every summer they go on holidays together. This year they're going to Italy and they are renting this beautiful mansion. They are all staying there together and everything seems to be fine up until Anna starts to hear things. She feels like she's seeing things. She doesn't know if it's just her, and things start to intensify. This is a very slow burn. It starts very slow, but it is really nice. Like, I loved reading about Anna, about her family members, learning about their backgrounds, about their stories, about their family dynamics. And I was there with this family in this mansion in Italy, and I could feel like I was there with them. It was so beautifully written. And then the book took a turn. I was not ready for that ending. It just started to escalate, and when you thought that you had reached like the highest point of it, it just kept going. And I was there for it. I really enjoyed it. It was bonkers, and I did not expect it to love it as much. Favorite new author, and this can be a debut or an author that it's just new to you. So for these, I'm gonna have to choose TJ Klune, because I read The House on the Cerulean Sea this year, and I absolutely loved that book. I ate that up, and I started buying his books. I have started buying his books. I haven't read them, but I started buying them, and that gets to tell you that I want to read everything that that guy has written. So it means that he has had a big impact on my life. And the other one is Rachel Harrison. I was shocked when I read The Return, and I loved it as much as I did. Again, it's a book, same vibe as Diabola, and I felt I was gonna enjoy it but not love it. And the writing was just fantastic, and the atmosphere that her book had, like I said, it's very similar vibes to Diabola. And I think this year I have realized that that might be one of the type of horror that I enjoy and I didn't know. Like really slow burn atmospheric horror that in the end chapters just gets bonkers. Apparently that's something that I enjoy now. Newest favorite character, I think Pip from Good Girl's Guide to Murder. We're gonna ignore book 3. Scratch it, cross it out. And Linus from The House on the Cerulean Sea. I love that man so much. You have no idea. Protect him at all costs. I loved him so much as a character. Book that made you cry. I'm sorry to disappoint, but there has not been a book this year that has made me cry yet. I've mentioned this every year I do the tag, but I am more inclined to cry if I watch a movie than reading a book. For some reason, I don't know, when I have a movie, there's actors and they're doing a great job, then it really hits my feels. When I'm reading a book, it is possible, but it takes a lot more. Book that made you happy. The House on the Cerulean Sea by DJ Clune. Why? Because that book was like a warm hug that you didn't know you needed. That's exactly how I would describe that book. I didn't know I needed that book, but I definitely did. And it was just such comfort. It was just so warm. Sad at times, but good sad. Like the good kind of hurt. And I loved it. I mean, I could also say, I guess, An Education in Malice by Esther Gibson, because I also really enjoyed that one. And it also made me really happy. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. And I have here 2 candidates, and honestly, there is many book covers that I love and I think are gorgeous. But there's 2 special editions that I bought this year that I think are so pretty. The first one is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I think this edition is so pretty. Basically, the dust jacket is almost like transparent, and if you remove it, I mean, come on guys. Come on. This book is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Look at those end pages. I mean, just look at it. But the prettiest of them all is Evocation by Esther Gibson. I mean, just look at this. Look at it. Look at it, but also look at this. And this. It's just so beautiful. And if you remove the dust jacket, it's just to die for. Look at this. Just look at it. It's just gorgeous. And I mean, look at the end pages. Excuse you. And these ones are my favorite. I mean, excuse you. Plus, on the back of the dust jacket, you even get more art. It doesn't get prettier than this. I still have to read it, but so far, the 2 books I have read by Esther Gibson have been a win for me, which are A Diary of Blood and An Education in Malice. So I have high hopes for this one. I know this is more fantasy than horror, but it is dark fantasy. So I'm hoping this is going to be up my alley. What books do you need to read by the end of 2024? Too many. Because I'm behind on my themed videos, my theme reading videos. I didn't read You Like It Darker by Stephen King yet. Some new releases are being delayed thanks to Amazon, so I am a little bit behind. I think my main goal is just going to be to finish the books that I need to finish for my themed vlogs, because I do want to upload those before the year ends. And also some of the new releases that I'm really excited about for 2024, because, you know, I want to give you guys also my feedback on new releases so that you guys can see if you would like to get them or not. Favorite video or post you've done this year so far? So I went to check, because I never check my numbers on my channel, and I went to check, and Actually, the videos you guys love the most are my book hauls, which is to be expected. I also love to watch people's book hauls, and my upcoming books every month, which I really appreciate you guys giving them so much support, because those are the ones that take me the longest to, you know, create. And I have enjoyed doing a lot of videos this year. Especially I loved the video that I did on 90s horror, where I talked about some 90s horror movies and their impact in the culture, and I recommended some horror books. I also really enjoyed doing my Easter vlog, because I put myself out of my comfort zone when it comes to reading, and I read things that I normally don't read, so I had a lot of fun doing that. Oh, and I also had a lot of fun cataloging my books. It was an intense job, but I'm really glad that I did. Favorite book community members? Too many. I am subscribed to too many people on YouTube, and I try my best to watch their videos as much as I can. I really love, of course, Cameron from Library Macabre. I love Nakia from Nakia's Hideaway. I absolutely love Jordaline Reads, and Gavin Reads It All. Like, I love too many people. I love Pretty in Paper Cuts, just too many. And I wanted to finish this video thanking you guys for all your support this year, and for being patient when I have had delays uploading videos and stuff like that. And I would like to also thank my Patreons for sticking with me. If you want to check my Patreon, the link is down below. We do reading sprints together. I do reading sprints a couple of times a month. They get my schedule every month so that they know exactly what I'm gonna post and when. They get live updates. So if you would like to join my Patreon, check it down below so that we can keep connected. I hope that you enjoyed the book tag. Let me know down below which is your favorite book so far of 2024, and which has been your biggest disappointment so far in 2024. Thank you guys as always so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in our next coffee time. Bye!